Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Preeti, and I'm the co-founder of Smaller Footprint. At Smaller Footprint, how we talk about like what is good for the environment is also good for us. And one such good step we are going to have conversation about is paints, something which decide once and that impacts us day and night in a lot many years for 7 to 10 years. And for that, we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Mahesh Anand, the President and Additional Director at Nippon Paints India, co-chair at IGBC Chennai chapter. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahesh, for being here with us and taking out time for this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me on this show or the conversation chat show with the Smaller Footprint. Myself, Mahesh Anand, I'm the president for Nippon Paint India Private Limited. And we have been in the paint industry for almost 145 years. Indian venture is quite new, not new in the sense we have been here for 17 years now. But globally, the parent company is 145 years old. And the primary objective is to manufacture paints and coatings which will have a sustainable impact for the future generation, which is basically innovative products, which is eco-friendly and human-friendly. That's the vision of Nippon Paint. And with the same vision, we started our operations in India way back in 2006. Right. So I've been with Nippon for still since that time, but I've been in paint industry for more than 30 years now. So nice to be part of this discussions. Preeti. Yeah, please.
Yeah, very well, interesting. So, of course, you are a veteran in paints industry, but sustainability is something which you have openly spoken about in the recent past, which I have also come across many times. So, when did and where did your sustainability journey started, and how did that become a part of your professional journey, or which one happened first, which one happened second? So, where did all of this started?
As I said, I was with the paint company earlier. It was Berger Paints. After Berger, almost about 17 years of stint, I joined Nippon in 2006. So that's when Nippon started its operations in India. So the basic the basic reason or why we should start in India, because already there are some 4-5 companies catering to the Indian market. But why should Nippon come in? Primarily because that point of time, the Indian companies were not offering an international quality or international standards to the Indian consumers. And when I talk about international standards, international quality is like, of course, amount of usage of less lead, chromium, heavy metals in the paints. For a common man, it is to understand that, a paint doesn't smell is containing less amount of the heavy metals. So that's how it is. But for an Indian consumer, if something doesn't smell, it is not paint. That was the mindset. Right. That point of time they had. Paint means it has to smell. It's purely, if you have to look at the theory or the scientific reason behind it, any paint you apply on the wall, which is the decorative paints, the drying happens or the curing happens by evaporation of solvents. So when the solvents evaporate, when you smell, that means you are smelling heavy metals. The solvents are heavy metals actually. So Nippon was the first company to bring in a paint which doesn't smell at all. So probably it started at that point of time, 2005, 2006. So far, till that time, paint was considered for me, since I've been in the paint industry for 17 years, it was considered to be only for protection and for beautification.
Sure.
After I joined in Nippon Paint, I realized that paint can also do other functional properties, right? So that was the first tipping point for me to realize that paint can do functional properties. And then paint without smell was the first thing which we started selling. And then probably that point of time, we were just finding out what journey or what type of approach we can take it to the Indian market. So we joined hands with Indian Green Building Council way back in 2006. Right. And they were starting at that point of time. For them also, it was a starting point. So we became a founding member. once we became part of Indian Green Building Council, all initiatives towards sustainability, we were part of it. So
Love.
that's how. So to tell you, yeah, that's when it started. 2006, it started actually.
And sir, about your own personal journey, something about that. So in terms of
So for me, personal journey, when I joined this Indian Green Belt IGBC's core committee,
Mhm.
what they preached is basically go back to your old roots, do what your ancestors did. They
Sure.
That is what is needed. That was so. Our chairman, Mr. Prem Jain, is no more. So he is a legendary visionary person. So he says that Indian Green Building Council's IGBC's mantra is based on the natural elements, the five natural elements. You be closer to that. Don't destroy it. Don't Nobody can destroy them. No, people only can pollute them. So don't pollute water. Don't pollute air. That's as simple as that. So my personal journey also started. So we started looking at how our parents had their circular economy. I
Correct.
still remember till my college days. By the time we moved into a city, it was in the tier three, tier four town. So we had a home garden. Everybody had a home garden. So almost for every 5 days in a week, we used to have food or the proceeds of the same garden. We had a plantain tree, we had a drumstick tree, we had a greens, everything. So probably that also is my learning process. So green building or the green concept or the green philosophy says be close to the nature, don't spoil the nature, leave it for the future generations. I mean, that's how. So I started learning that, and then I started preaching to my team, my within Nippon Paint, and wherever I go, I talk. I'm not a qualified engineer or anything of that sort. I'm purely a salesman. So I say that this is what you need to do. Today we talk about decarbonization. What does it mean? It just means that use products which has emitted less carbon. That's it.
Yeah. It maintains the balance of
Yeah.
the nature. And I think we all are now going back to what our ancestors used to preach. So I was saying like we all are now going back to the nature, maintaining that harmony. It's like we are moving back to the things which were being done by our grand parents and all. So yes.
Yes. Yes.
So, Mr. Mahesh, like paints, normally it's going to be a chemical and there's going to be a chemical waste in the process. There's going to be some pollution. So, in the last couple of years, what are some of the key small things and big things which has happened? Of course, Nippon is a pioneer with a global experience and all, it has taken initiatives. But in terms of Indian market, if we talk about, so what are the key changes which has taken place to make it more safer for the consumers as well as for the users who are doing these painting jobs for us?
Yeah. So as I said, in 2006, when we launched Nippon Paint in India, it was very difficult for us to go and talk to a consumer or a painter or an end user that paint which doesn't have smell. So what we did is we added some fragrance to it. We said like this paint will have an apple fragrance. This paint will have hibiscus fragrance. This paint will have rose fragrance. So the painters started connecting with, oh, when I apply this paint, I don't feel fatigued by end of the day. It is nothing to do with the fragrance. It was with that heavy metals which when you are breathing, you feel tired, you feel nauseative. By the time you get into a sick building syndrome, that was not happening to the painters. And maybe Nippon built the cat and every other company followed. And of course, all companies at that point of time, they realized that, yeah, this is what the future is going to be. Maybe Nippon set the standards. We will follow. So they also came out with all the products what we had. And it was like, competition brings the best out of people, right? Innovative product they also brought in and some things happened. So the first point of contact is the painter who decides what paint to apply. Even
Right.
if you were not in the paint industry, you will go by what a painter tells,
Absolutely.
however educated you are, right? The
Absolutely.
painter say this is good, you will go because for you, painting is a painful process. So you say, okay, let me go with them. So convincing the painter was the first thing which we did. And then every company followed. So now there is no paint in India which has heavy metals,
Right.
and that's a government regulation, government law has come in that if you buy a paint can, any company for that matter, it will be self-declared by the manufacturers that doesn't contain more than 90 ppm of lead.
Right.
It is declared in the can. Even in developed countries, we don't have this declaration, but in India, it has been mandated.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So it's the any paint you buy, it will have that, this declaration will be there. That's the change which has come in, which is good for everybody. Everybody means that people you are using it, people who are applying it on the wall. Now,
Yes.
what we are doing is we are going one step ahead, and now we are claiming ultra low VOC paints. Not only that it will contain less lead, but it also contains no volatile organic compounds inside that paint. So you will not feel nauseated. You will not have any eye irritation when you apply this paint. Of course, there is no smell or less amount of smell, and these are the advancement what Nippon has brought in. Now the platform has become even, but we have moved one step ahead, and we started getting ultra low VOC paints, and then to that extent, we have started innovating with the other, the people who supply us raw materials. We have formaldehyde-free paints, anti-formaldehyde paints also, which means that the paint doesn't contain formaldehyde. It also absorbs formaldehyde from other potential sources, like your carpets, your furnitures, and other things. So we
Mhm.
have two technologies in that. That is also available today. So for a common man, if you go and tell anti-formaldehyde, he will not understand that. So we say air purifying paint.
Mhm.
So these are the things which we have brought in, and a lot of technological products have come in.
Mhm.
So the differentiation what Nippon is doing to this industry is we have the capabilities, we have the knowledge, we have the technology front from our side, because we are present in almost 45 countries, and we have innovation centers in Japan and China and Singapore, wherein they look at what are the future products. So
Mhm.
we launch it in India, in other markets also, wherever we are operating, other countries, other follows, other companies follow it. I mean, we always look at that as a thought leadership. We will be the pioneers in doing it because we have that wherewithal to do that. So in that way, today paints have moved away from the generic paints, which were only for protection and color decoration, towards so many other things. You can decide what type of paint you want to apply it on the wall. You want a anti-formaldehyde or air purifying, or you want any antiviral, antibacterial type of paints, washability paint.
Mhm.
You can decide. Similar way for exteriors also. You can have dust proof paints. You can have elastic paints, which will slightly enlarge when there is a contraction and expansion and contraction of the building. Airline cracks are being taken care. So many things are available today. Yeah.
So that's interesting that now so many things have come, but it's like a dilemma of a lot of options available. So, two things. How are the customers, and more important, how are the channel partners? Because customers' decision of paint is driven by them. How are they educated about these things? And secondly, if a customer has to decide, so what are the five things they should keep in mind? Like, what would be your top five things they should consider? Because now, like you said, there's a low walk paint, there is a no lead paint, there is washability, then there are different technologies, silver iron, carbon iron, etc. So so that they get the benefit, it is safer for them, but at the same time, uh, it doesn't get lost in choosing too many functionalities. So how should
Yeah,
they?
so I would suggest that what the customer should think about it is like every company's paint is almost the same, right?
Mhm.
It has to serve the basic purpose of protection and decoration. Why
Mhm.
should you paint? It has to give you the decoration part of it. And it also should protect your walls, protect your steel, protect your other objects. After these are the two things first, and the longevity of it, like, how many years you will repaint.
Durable.
Probably if you're repainting after 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, 16 years, it goes like that. So these are the three properties are must actually.
Mhm.
Then maybe you have to look at, okay, if I have kids, can I use a kids paint? There are paints which is called kids paint, which are which I know on the walls you don't have bacterial infection, or you don't have any. You have the washability properties. Kids will try to do some crayons on the wall, so a paint which can be washable. So like that, if you have elderly people, then you can go for a anti-formaldehyde paint, which will not nauseate the elderly people, which not give you any breathability property like that. If you're applying on the exteriors, so it depends on the need. The primary objective is three things. One is protection, decoration, and longevity. Then the other two can be the need of the customer. So like that. So these are available on your. Every company has their own websites. You can go there, search for it, and their YouTube channels will be available. Then you can decide. So, and then of course comes the cost. So, and then finally, paint is only 40% of your cost. 60% is a labor. Right. So whether you buy a economy paint or a premium paint, the labor is the same. Right. So you decide. The 60% cost is the same, whether you do an economy paint or this thing, you decide. And then based on your budget and this thing, you can decide, okay, I will use the 60% is non-negotiable. You can't change it. Then I can go in for a premium paint, which will withstand for me for about 10 years or 5 years and above, below 5 years. Or I'm going to keep it on rental basis. And every 2 years I need to paint. Then I can go for economy version. So this is something which we can do it. So you can put a matrix wherein, okay, then I want this, and then the life, then I go for this. Like that you can decide.
How much role do certifications play? Is like customers can use that as a benchmark, or is it still an evolving stage in India that only certain paints are being certified?
It's in an evolving stage. Since I am in the IGBC, I can talk about this a much longer way. So after when I started interacting with the Indian IGBC forum, so there is a Green Pro certification, which is called the Eco Label Global Eco Label Network certified certification, which comes in all building materials. So Green Pro is something which is given by IGBC for the paints which they do a cradle to cradle or a life cycle assessment of the product, processing everything right from the design stage to the end stage of the product, and then they certify, okay, this product is a Green Pro certified. So this certification is available for all Nippon products. I don't know about other companies, but Nippon products are all Green Pro certified. Now, till 2 years back, it was difficult for me to explain what is a Green Pro certification and in what ways it is benefiting a consumer. Today, I'm talking about 2 years before it was difficult, but now the awareness is coming up. When I say Green Pro certified product, it is okay. All the basics, like the basic functionality of protection, decoration, longevity is there. Added to that, no heavy metals, no volatile organic compounds. Plus, these products, while manufacturing, it has emitted 25 to 30% less carbon. Okay. Now, this is something which is very, very unique. Now, in a world where the building materials is moving towards decarbonization, people will start asking for this. Can I have a Green Pro certified paint or a Green Pro certified cement or a Green Pro certified steel, which has emitted 30% less carbon, so that my scope 3 carbon is taken care, embodied carbon is taken care. Yeah. So this certification is gaining momentum now. And we are talking about green carbon credits across countries we can shift. That is also possible. And especially today, when you talk about the commercial and the big residential or the infrastructure projects, this Green Pro becomes a norm, which means that you have to give your embodied carbon declaration when you are supplying to some industry. That's become a norm. So that is shortly going to come in your residential projects also. But it's in the process.
Yeah.
It is evolving, but it is going to come. So what I foresee is like maybe the future generation, they will see any product they buy and then see what is the carbon footprint it has impacted. And based on that, they're going to buy. So there is a carbon footprint. You must be knowing that, there are some mnemonics released, like, 30% carbon footprint 40% carbon footprint reduction, 100% carbon footprint. You have a feet type of a mnemonic which has been released. That will be printed on the containers for every paint or every steel or every cement or whatever building materials you use. So yeah, that is going to be the future. So the decarbonization is becoming, it is needed. It is not that it is going to happen. It is needed today. People are facing this type of climate changes. So the simple solution is emit less carbon, or you try to neutralize the carbon wherever you are emitting. I mean, I keep telling about this wherever I go, wherever I talk, that we as a human beings, we breathe out or exhale carbon dioxide. And the food what we eat, the decarbonization happens and it comes out. The best way is to plant trees, right? If if an individual can plant about 15 trees in his lifetime, you are carbon neutral. You can claim that I'm carbon neutral. Yeah. So that will help for the future generations and the planet also.
Right. So right now we are at the stage where a certification is available, but like similar to airlines, if we compare, there you get to know which airline you choose, how much is the carbon footprint, but that quantification is in the process. That's the future of it. Okay.
Exactly. So today, if suppose somebody builds a home, it can be a small residential home. You just have to Google and say, can I buy a cement of less carbon footprint? It will give a pop-up of Green Pro certified carbon, Green Pro certified cement. Like there are so many companies are. Steel is possible. Your AAC blocks possible. Paints is possible. And in the electrical equipments field is already there. You just have to go for a 5-star rated electrical appliances. What does that mean? It consumes less energy. Because of that, the less carbon is burnt or a coal is burnt. So it's like that actually. Yeah. So similar thing is happening. It is already there, but the awareness is slowly catching up.
How are these greener alternatives compare in the pricing to the other conventional paint? How much more expensive are these? Is there a very wide price difference?
There is no extra expense at all. It's all the same. So I say Nippon has all their products green. It is the same like any other competitor brand in the market. There is no cost involved for buying a green product. It is the same.
So when we say all the Nippon's products are Green Pro certified and all the paints are falling under this sustainable alternative. So it's like overall the paint industry in India, is it divided like that? It's only Nippon where...
No, it's not divided like that. So today, I mean, is it because of that? Am I selling more? I mean, is my revenues more? No. Because the major influencer for this is a painter, and the common consumer's involvement in this is deciding what paint to apply is still very, very minuscule. I mean, hardly about 3 to 4%. So for a painter to understand this, it will take longer time. Yes, we are educating them. We are educating to the painters. Some of them are understanding this, but it will take a longer time. Like today, I'm not, okay, let me tell like this. Maybe about 20 years ago, if you want to fix a tube light, you will call an electrician. An electrician will buy the tube light and he will come and fix it. Today, it is not like that. You go and buy a tube light and come and you can fix it. So you decide, you will know what is 5-star, what is 3-star, what is 2-star, right? So that time has to come when the customer decides like, okay, I want a paint which is Green Pro or which is impacted 30% less carbon is what I'm going to use. Then this is possible. Like, then the division, I mean, by the time every company would have come into this Green Pro certification. That's what we look forward in the future.
Green Pro is the only certification there for this industry, or are there others in India? Like
no, in India there is no, but the similar one is with the US based LEED certification. A LEED is for basically all type of building materials, all buildings actually. And similar type of certifications also under this US GBC. But in India, it is there. And And every other country has similar certification. Like Singapore has got green choice, Malaysia has got their certification. Every green product comes under the eco label network. They call it as Green Eco Label Network. GEN, they call it as Green Eco Label Network. So all these certification come under that Green GEN label. So in India, Green Pro is the only one for the building materials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, like you mentioned about carbon footprint and decarbonization. So, Nippon globally is taking a lot of initiatives, be it the energy conservation,
Yes.
solar power, or other renewable powers, or the water conservation. So, how does all that translate for the India unit? Like, which is the core focus area here, or all of them are like, how does
Yeah. So see, globally we are as a global entity, we measure our carbon footprint and also measure our ESG ratings. ESG, we have a dashboard which is there. And in India, what we do is like we get specific quantifiable targets which is being defined for every unit, and we try to achieve that actually with respect to overall, but it is more on GHG gas emission, then energy consumption, then water consumption, then waste generation, and then all these parameters are given specific targets like by reduce by 2% or reduce by 5% and increase it by this much quantity. So that has been monitored on a global basis, and we have a monthly dashboard which gets reported to the global dashboard. And we have a completely ESG task team, and we have about 5, 6 units across India. Chennai is one, Mumbai we have two, and in Chennai we have two, Mumbai is one, and Delhi we have two. So all these 5 units get monitored by a task team leader who reports this on a monthly basis.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So the other thing which I noticed was like globally, Nippon has some 25 to 30% of revenues coming from this sustainably advantage. But what I understand from you, in India, it's the 100% revenues which are coming from this. So what steps enabled India to reach this 100%? Like, and what are the challenges there globally to move that 25 going ahead?
We are now looking at only the decorative paints. There is another half of 50% of, or maybe about, in India it is lesser, 30-40% is the industrial paints or the other coatings, where this is quite difficult because they need still the backbone is heavy metals are the backbone. So it's quite a challenge for them to become completely low in heavy metals. So that is something which there are countries which have moved into that completely a water-based system. But in India and other developing countries, it's a challenge. So overall, as a group to move, it is progressing, but it will take some time for us because in India we are about 60% is decorative, 40% is coatings. So that way, in India, we are slightly better off than the other countries actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these safety features which are there, low walk or no metal and all that, how much that affects the external paint decision making, or is it only relevant for the internal paints, the internal walls?
No, external also, because external is something which we are now starting to communicate to the stakeholders, the external stakeholders actually. We talked about interiors, about this antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-formaldehyde and things like that. When it comes to exterior, we have this high solar reflective paints which will reflect back the heat energy, and we also have something on the roof, cool roof coatings, which will reflect back the solar energy so that your surface temperature reduces by almost 10%. So 10 degrees. And because of that, your indoor thermal comfort is always there. Okay, so you paint it with these type of coatings, your surface temperature reduces by 10 to 12 degrees so that your interiors are under thermal comfort zone. So you use less AC, air conditioning, or less heater. And that reduces your energy consumption, and that results in less carbon or less coal burn somewhere. So you actually contribute to the planet or towards this global cause. So exterior is more important. You have to do this type of coating systems to keep you away from this urban heat island, which is again a big topic in today. Concrete jungles are, absorbing heat and it is emitting heat back into the atmosphere. So, but today we have coatings which will reflect back the heat from the surface, and it remains. 10 to 12 degrees is normal in today's scenario, and a surface reduction, actually, temperature reduction on the surface. Yeah. So exteriors also is there. It's not only the interiors, exteriors also is towards this global cause of decarbonization is working for it. Yeah.
So, what is the incentive or the disincentive for the painter community, especially those who painter contractors and the channel partners, to adopt the greener paints? Because in terms of application, in terms of the pricing, everything remains same, and it's also good for their health. But at the same time, is it just the gap in awareness which is like holding them back to shift to the greener alternatives, or is it something else?
For a painter to educate him is very difficult. So incentivizing is much faster. So what we do is, like, these type of products, we incentivize him higher, we incentivize him better. So he makes a switch immediately, and then we talk about that benefits for him as well as for the other elements to it. So just by education, it's very difficult to convert a painter or convert in as a dealer. So for them, we have this reward programs, we have the relationship programs, which will have them some rewards over a period of time, and then they can encash it to other goods or whatever it is. And we also have some in-can tokens. Not only Nippon, every company has this. So easier for them to convert, and then we talk about the other benefits, what has been derived out of it. So that is how we are teaching for the painters and as well as the community. But the change should come from the customer side or the end user, like, customers, real estate owners or commercial builders. Government also plays a vital role here, because if you see, Hyderabad, Telangana state has gone in for a cool roof policy, and recently Kerala state is also working for that, which means that any home which is built on an 800 or a 900 square feet has to have a cool roof, either a cool roof tile or a cool roof coating, which will reflect back the sun ray. So they are looking at, by doing that, the consumption of electricity will come down, so that they will burn less coal, or they can contribute to the planet. So that's the effort all the company. One is basically the one benefit is like the people living inside are feeling comfortable. Other one is they also contribute to the less carbon emissions overall. Yeah.
So, in terms of post-consumption needs, which are there, especially if there are residual paints and all, the disposal of that, because those are ultimately hazardous items. So, what are the kind of initiatives in place to minimize that? Although the paint container does mention that it needs to be recycled properly to a certain specific category. But is that infrastructure ready in India? Is something like a EPR also applicable to this industry?
It's actually, today it is, I would say, the infrastructure is not ready, but the EPR is coming into force. Like, government has already applied some norms today. I think it's about 20%. I should use recycled plastic. That's becoming a norm. Like, pails have to be 20% recycled plastic. But what happens is, like, the application site is not under any control of the manufacturer, right? So he buys the paint from the shop and he goes and does it somewhere outside, about 30-40 kilometers or within the radius of that. So end of the day, once he completes the work, whatever is the residual paint, he's going to make it as a landfill, or he's going to, maybe the easiest way is to put it in the closet of the house where he's working. So finally it ends in a landfill. It will take longer time, basically, unless and until you control the painting service from your side. It's very difficult to do it. So Nippon, as an initiative, we have green painting service, which means the painter carries two dust bins or a dust baskets, one for solid waste, another for liquid waste. And after the painting is over, we bring it back, and the solid waste is given to the government recycler. The
Okay.
liquid waste come to an effluent plant, my effluent plant, and it gets treated. Yeah.
So all these wonderful initiatives which are being taken, how does that translate, gets communicated to the employees of the organization on the initiatives which company is doing on different fronts on saving their resources, on safer products, as well as enabling them to imbibe, to start their own sustainable living journeys. So what kind of
Yeah, since I head this organization, plus also I head the green building chamber, my team is aware of all this, what we do in the process of selling paints and selling painting service also. And whichever forum I go and speak, I speak about this. And sustainability dashboard is something which I, as a monthly report, I get it from my team members. But within the organization, it is well aware. We have a monthly journal where we talk about this type of green initiatives. We also have the other community connect programs called the N Shakti, which is basically a women painters in training and empowerment. We also have another project called the Putri project, which is basically the girl childs towards. We coach them towards uh, uh, getting into a white collar job.
okay.
Career intentionality is what we talk to them, to the girl childs, especially in the social backward people. And we also have a lot of painter awareness campaigns, painter awareness training programs. We have a painter training center which is called the Proceed Academy.
Mhm.
And so these are the things which we try and do, and that gets circulated within our team members. So I mean, I'm hopeful that they will also do their bit with respect to sustainability. And I mean, wherever they goes to going to paint with Nippon paint itself. So which is itself is a big thing. They are taking a step towards the decarbonization of the planet, decarbonization and helping the planet in the way forward.
Sure, interesting. So, sir, we are at the last leg of the conversation. So now three
Yeah,
questions I would like to ask you.
sure.
One should choose a dark color paint or a light color paint, and why?
Uh, any paint which doesn't absorb heat, you use it. And why? Because dark color paint is something which, when you wear a dark black shirt, you feel very hot inside, rather than you wear a white or something which will not attract, or it will repel actually the heat. So, but this depends upon your choice. So any color you choose, it has to be uh, the most greenest, I would say, which will not have any heavy metals or low volatile organic compounds, ultra low VOC products. And then it depends on the personal choice. My personal choice would be a light color only. I don't go for dark colors instead of, except for this T-shirt which I'm wearing now. It's a dark green one. Yeah.
Okay. So, because for the Vogue declaration, which some companies are making, it says that that is the base declaration, and if you add any color pigments and all, so that thing changes. So, does it mean that if you're choosing a more darker color, so that will have a higher quantity of Vogue as compared to a lighter color?
It used to be earlier like that, but now we also have colorants which are certified as Green Pro, which means my colorant also is low in VOC.
Okay.
So today the paint, how does a paint gets delivered is, you have a base paint manufactured from the factory,
Right.
and at the point of sales you have colorants. They
Mhm.
get mixed and then you get the final color. So
Right.
this paint is Green Pro certified. The colorant is also Green Pro certified. The end product is finally Green Pro certified. So you
Okay.
don't have to worry about it. Either the dark color or light color,
It
it
doesn't
is
matter.
with low. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Okay.
But there is, once you use a darker color, there might be a slight quantum of the volatile organic compound, but it is permissible limits only.
What is one thing other than the decoration and the protection part of it, which a householder should consider when choosing the paint? Just one
I
thing.
would suggest I would suggest air purifying is something which is the latest technology. Wherever you go, whether you buy a telephone or whether you buy a TV, whether you buy a mobile, you are asking for latest technology, right? Latest new gen. So like that, new gen is air purifying, because whether you are having kids or you don't, you have elderly people, uh, breathing pure oxygen is always good. I mean, your air contains a lot of other impurities, But air purifying paint is something which will keep on purifying your air indoor. So always you breathe oxygen, which is almost 80 to 90% pure oxygen, which will avoid, the sick building syndrome. You will not feel fatigue by end of the day. You will not have a nauseating feeling. You will not get into any asthmatic problems. Even if you are asthmatic, you will not feel that. And then the best is like the cognitive ability of your kids improves a lot by using this paint. Yeah. So I suggest, because as I said, the concept is the application cost is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just the 40% of the cost you need to pay slightly more for getting
Right.
this paint. So
Yeah.
I think the latest technology is air purifying paint, which is there in all companies. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahesh, for taking out time and for sharing this information. I think it's going to help a lot of people make informed decision when they are next deciding to do the painting of their home and choose the safer paint, which is good for them and for the environment. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And
Yeah, thank you so much. If I can influence at least one person out of this to use paints which are safer, that's the day for me. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.